Previously on the show. Way back in 2007, we were introduced to the trailer for a movie that didn't even give its title out and would go on to become one of the most secretive movies in Hollywood history, redefining viral marketing. And that movie was Cloverfield. Today on the show. Good morning, it's Kelly. Dude, wake up.
Oh, you done?
Yeah. I mean, I've been done for a while now. I mean, that was the first Cloverfield. You guys remember we went through all of that stuff, you know. And so today we're going to tackle 10 Cloverfield Lane. Well, since you really didn't put your 2 cents in the last time, I thought maybe you might want to.
I haven't watched any of that.
You haven't watched 10.
No.
All right, here we go, guys. Buckle up, because this one's a big one. You ready?
Yep.
You good for this one? You sure?
I've got things to.
Okay.
You got this.
All right. So, after the events of the first Cloverfield movie, things go silent for a little while. And of course, in case you don't remember, we're talking about the ARG here. That's the alternate reality game that takes place that leads up to the release of the film. Now, we had no idea that 10 Cloverfield Lane was coming. No idea whatsoever. Then, 2 months before its release, out of nowhere, a trailer drops. And suddenly, now all these questions are being asked. Where's the monster? What's this have to do with the first one? Is it even tied to the first one at all? They're saying it's an anthology film, that it's a blood relative of the original film, but not directly tied to it, not a direct sequel, if you will. So, of course, all these questions arise. We turn to the ARG for those answers. We begin in February of 2016 when Taggarato, if you don't know what I'm talking about here, you're going to have to go back and watch the first one here because I explain who Taggarato and Bold Fortuna and all these other companies and things are. Taggarato updates their website all of a sudden, adding an Employee of the Month page. And one of the Employees of the Month is a man by the name of Howard Stambler. Howard Stambler is, of course, played by John Goodman in 10 Cloverfield Lane. He is the Employee of the Month for Bold Fortuna. Now, it doesn't really give a lot of information. It basically just kind of says, he's worked there for X amount of time, blah, 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 blah. The only real clue we have from this picture is the fact that he's wearing a t-shirt that says Radio Man. And I'm trying to remember exactly what the shirt said, Radio Man, and it had a number afterwards. But anyway, people took it upon themselves to find Radio Man and whatever the number was on the t-shirt.com, and that led them to a website called Fun and Pretty Things. Now, on the cover of this page there, you can kind of see it there in the pictures. It shows just a lot of random objects, some pictures of Paris, things like that. But one of those pictures stands out as a picture from the movie Pretty in Pink. Now, if you've seen 10 Cloverfield Lane, you remember Howard explaining that Pretty in Pink was his daughter Megan's favorite movie. Well, the picture from Pretty in Pink is the only picture out of all of these that you can actually click on. When you click on it, it brings you to a page asking for a password. Well, it took people not very long to figure out that the password was, "Do you want to talk?" The reason why "Do you want to talk" was the password is if you remember that scene in Pretty in Pink, they're talking on the computers, and that was what initiated the conversation. Do you want to talk? So, of course, once you enter that password in, it goes into not necessarily a chat forum, but a forum nonetheless of Howard sending messages to his daughter Megan. This all of these messages are basically things telling her he was right all along, and that he's built this bunker in Louisiana, and that he has to come, and she's in Chicago, and that she has to come from Chicago, get away from her mother somehow because her mother doesn't trust him, and all this backstory. I won't go into all the messages because obviously if I was, it would just take forever. So, but the long story short is him basically telling Megan that she needs to get down to Louisiana to get into the bunker to be safe with him because there's an attack coming. So, Amidst all of this, now all of these messages, they go back and forth over the course of weeks, a month even. Now, in there, he's also put a link up to a survivalist game that will give you little puzzles to solve to see how long you would survive in an apocalypse situation. Most of these, you would die relatively quickly. Some people, did better than others, but then all of a sudden a second trailer drops. Now when the second trailer drops, a series of numbers and letters kind of kept popping up during the course of the trailer. People were clever enough to put these numbers together, and it actually formed a set of longitude and latitude that led to the discovery. Someone actually went to that location. It just basically was a big empty field, essentially, just on someone's property. So they went out to that field and they found a box. Inside the box was some survival supplies. There was also a couple of USB drives inside, and the USB drives, the flash drives, had on them some audio files. Now the audio files were basically, let me see if I can remember exactly what that comes down to. Pardon me. It's a conversation between the International Space Station, the ISS, excuse me, hiccups, the capsule communicator, or Capcom, and flight controller back in Houston.
There was a flash of red light that seemed to come from everywhere, and then it was gone.
Copy ISS. Everyone okay up there?
Yeah, more or less, Houston. Tell me clear it up.
ISS, flight would like you to execute procedure 2380A and scrub this from the mission logs.
In the recordings, astronauts on the ISS are heard reporting that a particle detector named the Alpha Magnetic Spectrometer, or the AMS, apparently has detected 2 bursts in its signal. Now, that's going to be important next Tuesday, so make sure you tune back in for that. 2 bursts of a signal, followed by a flash of red light coming from everywhere. Now, that same flash is actually mentioned in the movie at the moment that the aliens attack. Mysteriously, the flight commander of commands the ISS to scrub the mission logs under an unknown procedure, wipe the AMS signals, and tells the European Space Agency and Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency to disregard those transmissions. So that's what's found on the USB drive. So things are heating up. Now, it is mentioned again, Bold Fortuna does work with satellites. Now, in the movie, John Goodman's character, Howard Stambler, does mention that he worked with satellites and that he had intercepted a transmission. That obviously is a transmission that he had intercepted. So, now, I'm going to be skipping a lot of info here because the 10 Cloverfield Lane ARG went on. It lasted for 2 months, which is longer than the other 2 combined. And it went so incredibly deep. So the messages to Megan continue. Now there have been 0 responses. Now, meanwhile, this is an interesting one. There is when that second trailer dropped, it actually showed some footage from the movie. They were seen drinking a soda called Swamp Pop. Now, I want you to tune in to the show on Friday, and you will see why Swamp Pop is important. Okay? So that's just a little Easter egg there for you there. So people went to the Swamp Pop website, and the Swamp Pop is a real thing. So they went to the website, and being a real company, of course, it had their products and things on there for sale. Well, amidst their products for sale, they actually had a storage facility type, basically a build-it-yourself bunker that they were selling on this soda webpage. But if you were to click on that, it would tell you that it was unavailable. Now, fast forwarding again, we find another cache of objects. This time, it's some of Megan's belongings, or some things that had been left behind for Megan. It was kind of a purse-looking thing that could also double as a sort of a lunchbox type of deal. It has that nylon insulated type deal. And inside was actually a cell phone. A real cell phone with a real functioning cell phone. And this was to be Megan's phone from her dad. No emergency contacts, no real information inside, no photos, and it was one of those old-style flip phones. But it did have Dad's number in there. Well, of course, this information gets out over the internet, and the phone just explodes. I mean, it blows up with information. And eventually, Howard goes onto Fun and Pretty Things and actually writes on there, hey, if people will stop calling, and you actually go, the voicemail is full, so if you will erase all the voicemail, I will call you. So the person with the phone actually does this. They go and they delete all the voicemails and everything. They write on there, hey, it's done. And sure enough, Howard Stambler himself, Mr. John Goodman's voice, appears in a voicemail on the phone.
That phone belongs to my daughter. I don't know how you got it, but it doesn't matter much anyways. It's happening, and I wish everyone just listened to me. I could have helped you all if you just listened.
Meanwhile, we've mentioned Megan's mother and how she was very protective of Megan and how she thought that Howard was a psychopath, essentially. She suddenly posts randomly on Craigslist. She's selling a set of silverware that once belonged to Howard. So, of course, when people realize that this is in-game, they, of course, start blowing her up with messages, to which she's not responding to a single one of them. Until somebody actually has the foresight to write a message on there that doesn't mention anything about the silverware whatsoever. Instead, they say, listen, I know you don't know me, but I thought you should know that your ex-husband has created this website trying to get Megan to leave your care and come to him. Well, this, of course, gains her attention, and she responds, and she's not happy about it. So eventually, she actually gets to send a message to the Fun and Pretty Things herself, and I'm trying to get that pulled up here, actually, because I had the message pulled up just a moment ago, but now I don't. But anyway, so she basically sends a message on there saying, Howard, you think I'm crazy, and da-da-da-da-da, you're the one that's digging, making these bunkers and whatever, and doing all this stuff, and calling him out, basically. So now they start to go back and forth. Meanwhile, we move up into March, so just a couple of weeks before the actual release of the film, and they update the Tagaratu site yet again. Let me see here. Let me get trying to find this here. Excuse me. Okay, this is it. A new message appears on there, and this one's from an unnamed user, and it just had the initials NR. Now, they update the employees of the month again, and there is a man by the name of Nikolai Razzo, who is kind of a rival of Howard's. Suddenly gets the new spot for Employee of the Month, and a new message appears on there, basically saying, hey. I know you and I have gone back and forth in the past. I know we've been somewhat friends and somewhat rivals kind of at the same time. And sorry. Yeah, okay. I was just making sure I had the right information there. Basically saying they're on to us and there's something you need to see. So he kind of sends him another link, and this link is to another audio clip. And it's not really all of that discernible, but the audio file actually contains a message that can be decoded by using a slow scan TV. And it basically came up with an image that looks very similar to like the Black Knight satellite in space. Basically, it's just a large black object that's been circling the planet for God knows how long, and they don't really know what it is. But essentially, that's kind of what it looked like. So very confusing things. Not a lot of detail coming into it there. I'm trying to think, what am I missing here? Because I feel like I'm missing something. Man, there was so much that went into this, and I had these notes, and I'm sorry I left those notes at home. But so yeah. A lot of the, it all kind of leads right up to it, and everything just kept escalating and escalating and escalating. They're going back and forth between Howard and his wife, and he's got this other guy, Nikolai, and everything just kind of stopped all of a sudden. I mean, everything led up to the exact moment that the film debuted. So the moment that Howard actually entered the bunker. So everything went quiet all of a sudden. Now this leaves a series of questions open to us. Is Megan even alive? Is she out there somewhere? Is she dead? Was she dead before? Now see, there's a conspiracy when it comes to the actual movie itself, where in the movie they mention Megan, and that Megan was Howard's daughter. He shows, what is her name? Michelle. He shows Michelle a picture of Megan, and later on, when Michelle has to go into to reset the ventilator, she finds an earring and the word "help" scratched on the window that's written from the inside. She also finds blood. She comes back and she tells the other guy that she tells Emmett, about the earring and about Megan and all of this stuff, and she shows him the picture, and Emmett's like, well, that's not Megan. That's a girl that I was in class with, and she went missing a couple years ago, and everybody thought she just skipped town or something, and here she is in this picture with Howard. So of course that kind of leads everyone to believe that Howard, maybe he killed her, maybe he killed Megan, maybe that's why he brought Michelle down here. We'll probably never know. But that is 10 Cloverfield Lane. So there's a lot of other questions. And now, again, I have left a ton of this stuff out. But that's kind of the highlights of it. But it's definitely something that you should go look into if you want to know more about it. It makes the movie, when you go back and watch the movie after you know about the ARG, it makes things so much more interesting. So join us again next week. We're going to touch on the Cloverfield Paradox. Now, I keep wanting to say 10 Cloverfield Paradox. The Cloverfield Paradox ARG was very short-lived. Very, very, very short-lived. But it not only tied some things together, it also maybe showed us some things that we have yet to see in the Cloverfield universe. So, yeah, definitely join us for that and check that out, because it's an interesting thing. But look it up. Definitely go look up CloverfieldClues.com. That is the best site to find all the stuff on the ARG for all three movies and then some. Read through some of these things, guys. I mean, it's crazy how deep these things go. And then when you go back and you watch the movie again after you know about the ARG, I mean, I know I'm repeating myself here, but I mean, it just makes the movie so much more interesting when you have that much more information going into it. It's just absolutely awesome. So, I mean, that's going to pretty much wrap it up today. What do you think? Did you guys enjoy 10 Cloverfield Lane? D, what do you think? Again, seriously? What are you doing down there?
Dusting. It was filthy.
What? Oh, okay.
I figured,
Oh, all right. Well, okay, cool. Well, anyway, make sure you guys check us out on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter. And, while you're on Facebook, make sure you guys send us a message. Order yourself one of those or one of these. $20 for the short sleeve shirts. You got 22 for the long sleeve shirts, 25 for the hoodies. We just need to know what colors you need. That's what color of the shirt, what color of the text, and what size. And, you're on YouTube, so, yeah, do those things as well.
Yeah, those things. Liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing.
You're acting really weird.
I feel like I've been reborn.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Hello, this is Neil from Springfield, Missouri, and this is Russian Clip of Day.
Hey guys, thanks for watching that video. We hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, and if you liked what you see, go ahead and click on our faces to go ahead and subscribe to get all of our Monday through Friday stuff.
Indeed, and here's a couple of links down below that you can follow to watch more shows like it. Tons of great content right here at Scallywag Productions. We'll see you tomorrow.